Speaking podcast. My name is Pete Flecha, and joining me is my good friend, Mr. John Nicholson. John, what are you doing over there?
So as we prepare for the upcoming trips, I was thinking, I've got remote VPN to my house. I've got remote IPKVM, but sometimes you just need to reach out and touch that lab VCF server remotely. So I've got a finger bot here so I can whack the power button and hold it down or do whatever I need remotely. So
you're finger botting. Okay.
Yeah, I figure if I'm going to be thousands of miles away from, my home data center, I need to be able to reach out and poke it,
Is this your way of telling me that you're going to be traveling right now? Are you going somewhere?
We got the bags are packed, we're ready to ride out. So this is my riding hat. So I'm ready.
Nice. I love it. Yeah. And this is going to be kind of what we're talking about on this episode, but yeah, lots of travel ahead for Virtually Speaking. We are going to be going to a few places, one of which is the VMware user. I don't think they call it a user con anymore. VMUG Connect in Amsterdam. John, you're going to be there podcasting, presenting sessions, talking to folks. So looking forward to hearing some interviews there. The following week is what the subject is of today, and that is KubeCon 2026 in Amsterdam, which I will be joining you. Our good friend, Mr. Jad, will be joining us. So on that note, Jad, welcome to the podcast.
Mr. Jad, I like that. Children call me that. Thanks. Actually, I am very much looking forward to that trip as well. Mr. Jad will be there, and we've got a lot to cover, a lot to talk about here and there. So yeah, that's going to be.
I'm going to buy you a T-shirt that says Mr. Jad. That's your new nickname. Jad. I love it. We're not alone. I know we're going to be there. We're going to be podcasting, doing a lot of really cool things. But there's a whole bunch going on, probably more than you're aware of, from a VMware or Broadcom perspective. And so for that reason, we brought on a good friend of the show to tell us all about that. And that is our friend, Mr. Himanshu Singh. Himanshu, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Great to be back with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Himanshu, I want to walk through all the different things, but yeah, I think the most important thing I think everybody wants to know is why do they call it KubeCon and not KubeCon? Because it's about Kubernetes. Like it's not about Kubernetes. So
that's a good question. Well, I think you can say, you do you kind of thing. You want to call it KubeCon or you want to call it KubeCon. I'll tell you this, right? You know how, like on the keyboard, K and L are kind of next to each other. I've mistyped, replaced the K with an L, and I've sent emails. So KubeCon or KubeCon either is better than what I did.
Yeah, nobody's going to LoopCon. I'll go with you there.
Yeah, it's more likely a Vegas thing than an Amsterdam thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So apparently I can't spell because I couldn't figure that joke out. I couldn't figure it out. I was like, wait, what could he possibly have been typing?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Or my mind's not in the gutter. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Probably
Pete says though, right? Just for just anybody missing that.
Yeah, exactly. As I start to sweat here. Yes. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program, talking about KubeCon 2026. Lots going on from a VMware perspective. I'm excited about it. It's actually my first KubeCon, and it takes me back to the days of like my first VMware Explore or my first VMworld, as it was back then. And man, I remember before I went going on YouTube and just looking at previous years and seeing what was going on and getting all excited. I've kind of done the same thing with this one. John, have you been prepping for this? I know it's your first one as well.
It's different because a lot of the conferences I go to, I've been going to for years, and so anytime you go to a new conference, you get that new conference smell. But want to figure out the sessions. I want to reach outside of my comfort zone. I promise I'm going to go to more sessions than just storage. I'm also looking at pre-conference because pre-conference is always best conference. It's some of the activities there. So there's a lot going out. But most importantly, what I'm really looking forward to, and I'm filling out the Rolodex, is meeting some of the engineers, specifically on some of the core open source components, meeting some of our engineers. Like Broadcom has a lot that contribute to various upstream projects. Really want to sit down and have a chat with some of the Velero folks and things like that. So this is an opportunity to get out there and actually go talk to people in the real world that, you don't share a cube with and you don't want to throw things at because they're loud. Yes, that's a subtweet at Morera. So, should be fun.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, I want to hear what's going on at the booth. But before we do, Jad, is this is your first one as well?
It is. It's my first one. For as many explorers and VMworlds I've been to, which is basically everyone in both Europe and America since 2008, except for one.
Wow.
And the COVID times. But anyway, yeah, I had to think back. I'm like, this is the first one, but it's also indicative of a lot of what we're doing these days, and the overall presence we're going to have at KubeCon in Amsterdam, and what we recently had in Atlanta that Himanshu was also heavily involved in and set up and everything. So yeah, I'm quite psyched. I think this is going to be a fun event. The VMware caravan there is probably one of the largest in quite some time, or maybe historically. I don't know. So yeah, I'm psyched. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of what John just mentioned. There's going to be people there that I don't interact with on a day-to-day basis, from both partners and customers, and of course our own engineers, which you'd think we'd have more FaceTime with, but they're off contributing code to the community. So looking forward to
for sure.
Doing a lot more there. Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of different people contributing to the open source community. I mean, CNCF is huge, obviously, and getting bigger and bigger. So I'm excited to meet some of those folks as well. Some of the videos I've watched and just learning Kubernetes, I'm going to mix them up now. Kubernetes for sure are going to be there. So it's exciting
just
to go and see these people.
Yeah, just don't call it Kubernetes, please.
No. Don't put it in my head. It's Kubernetes. It's a huge event. Actually, this is the 11th year they've been putting the event on, and this year there's like over 12,000 people that are going to be there. An interesting thing I saw, Himanshu, was that 46% of the people that are attending, this is going to be their first time, which makes sense on the percentage of this call. I mean, but yeah, there's a lot.
75%. Yeah, exactly. By the way, I was going to say, as the relative veteran of KubeCon compared to you guys, because it's going to be my fourth, I believe. No, we'll be gentle with you guys. Like the hazing won't be that bad. It's all right. We'll take care of you.
Yeah. So give us the skinny. What's going on from a Broadcom perspective at KubeCon?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. So we've really kind of, I think, upped the ante when it comes to what we've been doing with KubeCon for probably about a couple of years now. Last year at London, then at Atlanta, and also in India. We participated in all the different events, and this year again we're going to continue and expand on that as well. So, there's also going to be KubeCon coming up in Japan, right? So, lots of interesting things lined up. We've got for the first time we're actually sponsors of the Platform Engineering Day this time in Amsterdam, and so I'm really looking forward to that one. It's a subset of the audience, but exactly the kind of the folks in doing the kind of things that we are really excited to add our voice into it and see how we can support the platform engineering community as a whole, from a Broadcom perspective. Now, we do have a booth, actually booth number 715. We are a platinum sponsor as before. And so that you'll find, you can come to the booth and talk to us about all the things that we're doing around open source projects that we've been focusing on. So, of course, three big areas that we really kind of talked about in the past few months around, we really want to push when it comes to Kubernetes, as a community, we really want to push things around security, lifecycle management, reliability. And so you'll see us talk a lot about things like, what we're doing with CAPI, Cluster API, with etcd, with Harbor, for example, but also, and, John mentioned Velero. Velero is an important one as well. There's a bunch of additional kind of projects that we are contributing in, and we have maintainers as well, right? So you'll see all of our kind of senior engineers there, our contributors, maintainers, at the booth, delivering sessions, etc. as well. You'll probably end up seeing Frank Denneman. You'll see Fanny Strudel, one of our distinguished engineers. Another one, Zach Shepard will be there as well. We'll have Fabrizio Pandini, who's a maintainer for etcd, right? So there's going to be like all the heavy hitters who folks can come and talk to, attend their sessions, etc. that we are kind of co-presenting with other folks from the community. And then we've got kind of the the keynote we're doing, in fact, Nader Jiva from our engineering side is going to be presenting a keynote at Platform Engineering Day. We're also going to have our own demo, what's it called? A demo theater session, basically, in the event. And the one that I'm really excited about, as kind of the marketing guy in this group, is the party. So this is, again, the first time we're doing a party at KubeCon, and it's going to be on the 25th, which is the Wednesday, I believe. In collaboration with platformengineering.org and with Canonical, who's been one of our really good partners, over time, especially in the last, probably year or so as well. So again, as I said, massively packed agenda in terms of what we're trying to do there, how we are showcasing, what we're bringing to the table, how we're contributing to the community, all the different projects, all the different capabilities around vSphere Kubernetes service, our private AI capabilities that we're delivering as part of VCF in the full stack in the private cloud. So again, super stoked. We've just got a massively packed agenda. Lots of really cool people going to be there. So I'm excited about how we'll be able to interact with so many more attendees, and everybody else over there.
Wow. That was a lot. So I need to unpack this like piece by piece. But let's start with the big one, the party, obviously, on Wednesday. So is this one of those things, come one, come all, or is there registration? Do people need to make sure that they reserve their seat?
Yes, they do. So I would highly recommend folks to, I think once we publish this, we can put out the QR code and the link for registration. But I would highly recommend folks to go in and register right away, so that you kind of, book your spot, because of course space is going to be limited. We're going to be in the Nila restaurant, which is pretty close by to the conference center itself. And we're going to have folks talking about a few different things, topics that are very specific, challenges, opportunities, areas of focus when it comes to the platform engineering community. So it'll be very interesting, not a product pitch kind of thing, but just having a good panel discussion with folks from platformengineering.org, from Canonical, from VMware, Broadcom as well. That'll be good. And then, of course, great opportunity to network with your peers, and it's a whole bunch of free food and drinks. So that's what I'm going in for. And I got my registration done, and I got my everything. I've on my phone. I've got my the card added to my wallet and all that. So yeah, just
nice.
People need to take care of that.
Well, the magic of post-production, link below to register, and QR code right here.
Maybe in post-production, we can get an invite to that party as well, because I heard you were setting it up and haven't really found anything yet. But
yeah, check out this video now that it is published. Here's the QR code.
Lots of cool things that are happening at the booth. The one, honestly, I know there's a lot of different things, but I am definitely, I'll be the first to tell you that Kubernetes obviously is not my strong suit. I certainly wouldn't be volunteering to be a subject matter expert at the Broadcom booth to talk about it. I'm actually going there to learn myself. It certainly, I know Kubernetes from just like any technology, I guess, is getting easier in terms of deployment and configuration. I know it started out much like just anything, very difficult. I mean, I remember back in the day, Kelsey Hightower, he had like a workshop or a walkthrough of, and it was entitled Kubernetes the hard way, right? Because it would go through basically everything that you had to do just to stand Kubernetes up, and it was a lot. It was very, but his perspective was like, get it all up this way, learn it, and then as you start to use these simpler tools, then you'll not only will you honestly understand it better, but it'll give you a better idea of what actually is going on. That definitely took me back to my days of first trying to figure out what the heck Linux was doing. I had an administrator that forced me to stand up Linux on Gentoo. You remember Gentoo? Anybody?
Yeah, Gentoo. Okay, so Gentoo is you had to compile your own kernel and you set all the manual flags. I always, it was the Linux for that. That kid who drove the Honda Civic that had been souped up and had a cold air intake, and made crazy noises. And he's like, look, I got blue LEDs that flash and it makes it 1% faster. That's Gentoo users, I feel like, in a nutshell.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was brutal, man. It was brutal. You had to compile everything just to get a network driver working, just to get your network interface to work. You actually had to do compiling and manually scripting services to get started. So yeah, very difficult. Certainly, it's a lot easier now with distributions, and certainly Kubernetes is the same. But I was looking at the list of sessions that are out there, and I saw that there are some folks like Miles Gray, for example, who's doing things like things that you need to know to run production AI workloads on Kubernetes. And I know there's like a long list, and we will leave a link to all of those sessions in the show notes of the podcast, but also on this video in the details. So lots of good things. Any highlights you want to share from the sessions that we have?
So I think we've got a few
ahead.
different sessions going on, right? So we've got sessions talking about things like Node.OS. We've got sessions talking about etcd, what's happening there. The panel that I talked about for the party, for example, that's going to cover a wide variety of topics around, hey, the state of platform engineering report that just came out. In fact, Broadcom was the sponsor, of that report that platformengineering.org actually puts out. Lots of really interesting things that are worth having a conversation around. And then also, I think one of the key pieces is this confluence of Kubernetes and AI, essentially, right? Because at the end of the day, anybody building an AI workload is doing it in a Kubernetes environment, right? Using that as the control plane, basically. So how do you bring all of that together? Like there's a whole bunch of kind of the same old story of creating new silos where you get into a new workload type, you get into a new technology, you start building these silos, and then you realize, hey, I need to simplify this, right? Because and so that's one of those things where we'll be able to talk about what are we doing when it comes to bringing all these things together, making it just simpler to just run your workloads, be able to treat AI as yet another workload as part of your overall enterprise fabric, right? And the tool sets, both open source as well as kind of like vendor tool sets, so to say, that help you kind of solve the problem that you're trying to solve in the simplest possible way with all the performance you need, the security you need. I think sovereign AI is going to be a big topic. That's no surprise to anybody. So I think really excited to talk about some of those things that we're going to do there. So in the sessions that we have at the booth, and things like those. The party and the panel discussion that we talked about. So very, very pertinent topics, across all that matters to the platform engineering community, the CNCF community.
Yeah, and we have we're gonna have a lot of content coming out of the booths as well. A lot of us have been blessed with booth duty as well, which I actually am looking forward to, highlighting some of the the new announcements we've recently had. New emphasis on VKS as a Kubernetes platform, as the Kubernetes platform, driving VCF into the platform engineering world as a whole. But we also have a lot of showings, a lot of announcements to be coming with partners, right? We'll be also showing our embracing of CNCF, of the community. The presence there is really about the community and where VMware fits into that. I'll be along with Himanshu at Platform Engineering Day, which again is a big, it's a shift and a big push for a lot of customers and a lot of enterprises, and we'll be there kind of highlighting and showcasing a lot of the stuff going on from a platform perspective. So it's going to be loaded, very busy. We have a bunch of those partners lined up for podcasts, right? It's funny, as we were lining up speakers for podcasts, how many of them used to work for VMware. It seems like everybody kind of flowed through VMware into those communities. I just spoke to one individual who I love dearly today and found out that he was going to be there. So more on that. But we have a lot to talk about, a lot to show, a lot to be proud of, but also a lot to prove. And I think it's going to be an awesome show to do all those things.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we will be podcasting. Actually, we're going to a couple of things from a logistical perspective. If you're listening and you want to catch up with us at the event, comments, make a comment on the bottom of this video, or just hit us up on social. But because we are looking to chat with folks that are there, that are, you know, whether they're customers, partners, anybody with a good story, we're going to be interested. We do have some cool folks lined up already. On Monday, we're going to be podcasting probably off-site or somewhere very close because of the fact that there is no booth on the platform engineering day. So we will be running around and doing some fun stuff, getting some good interviews. We're setting up some cool stuff. So if you're interested, reach out. But on Tuesday, we will be actually at the booth in booth 715. And Himanshu and team were kind enough to give us a little corner where we could actually set up some interviews. And so we've got folks like Kelsey Hightower and some other friends of the show like Frank Denneman and some other folks that are coming by to do some interviews. My goal is to not only experience Kubernetes and share that with our community, but also to just really capture a lot of really good content for future episodes and just understanding, this is a great thing for me because I am coming as a student, not as a teacher. You know, a lot of times when we go to events, we have to be the teachers or the presenters of these technologies. And so this is exciting for me because it's like, this is truly an area that I do want to learn more about. So I'm definitely coming with my pupil hat on for sure. How about you, John?
It's an area that, you know, I've been spending more and more time in Kubernetes over the years. And it's kind of fun because it's been out for, I guess, 10 years now, right? It's no longer the new thing. It's no longer the new hip thing. It's the thing that like actual grown-ups are using, you know, not just in anger. And so I want to see where the maturity is at within the platform and like learn how people are using it. One of the nice things about going to these conferences is you see, you know, the lessons people have learned along the way. You see why all those guardrails and tooling, especially all the stuff we're shipping, has come from. Looking forward to that. But also, I'm also kind of curious because I have a lot of friends who started their lives as sysadmins. And if we look, you know, at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the systems administrator, the traditional tribe that a lot of our VMware and friends came from, it's actually shrinking. It's not dying, it's not going away, but there are fewer of them. And if you look at where a lot of those people have gone, is they've gone into platform engineering, they've gone into SRE roles, they've gone into these different capes, and the job landscape has shifted. And I think that's a good and that's an exciting thing. And these skills of automation, it doesn't mean you have to become a software developer, you know, overnight, even though that is, I guess, what the BLS code is for those roles. But it is interesting seeing where those people, they take what they've learned with VMware, they've extended it with Kubernetes. You know, I know people often, you know, just associate Kubernetes with containers, but it can also be used for orchestrating anything, VMs, function as a service, other things, and seeing kind of where our tribe, so to speak, is going, because Kubernetes is, you know, in a lot of ways, it's always been the future and is still the future, but it's also the future of vSphere, and it's where vSphere is now. You know, it's becoming, you know, how we orchestrate things just internally. It's getting built so deep into our products. So, I feel like this in a lot of ways is the new chapter of where the infrastructure tribe is going. And I look forward to seeing some old friends who've made that jump in that direction, as well as also just seeing where the ship is sailing together, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, this is, you know, a lot of folks probably when they think about VMware and they think about, if you what do you think about when I say VMware or Broadcom? And I don't think Kubernetes is the first thing that comes out of everybody's mouth, but it really is over, like you said, for almost a decade now, has definitely been getting more and more. And I would venture to say that, and I don't have any statistical data on this, this is just me thinking, but like, I would imagine that there are probably more environments that at least have some containers or form of modern apps in a mixture, in a hybrid scenario compared to environments that are strictly virtual machines. Am I off base?
No, I think that's very correct. It's people are running mixed workloads. They're, you know, everybody always talks about the new thing, like it's the new hip thing and everything's going to that. And it's like, I just had a conversation this morning about mainframes, and I looked at like the CAGR for the mainframe environment. I'm like, oh, it's actually growing. It's still there and it's growing. Like it's, you know, the old thing. I know it doesn't get as much marketing and talk, but it's still around. And I think virtualization, you know, we're now, you know, 20 plus years old. We are in some ways, I guess, the old thing, but containers are running alongside VMs. Everything is continuing. But what's interesting to me is the management plane, the orchestration, the automation capabilities that Jad has obviously talked quite a lot about. That is, coming in a very mixed way, and the future comes. It's just not always evenly distributed, and that's where I feel like a lot of the Kubernetes involvement in various people's environments is today.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning that of the 10 years of Kubernetes life, almost 8 years VMware has been in that game, right? The Heptio acquisition a little more than 7 years ago, acquiring the founders of Kubernetes, and WCP joining vSphere, the workload control plane. If anybody remembers VMworld that many years ago, with Frank Denneman and Ralston, remember them on stage showing how we can spin up containers in vSphere. This isn't new to VMware, right? I would say there's definitely a renewed focus, absolutely, unquestionably, especially in the last 2 years, renewed focus, where I just myself am experiencing vSphere and VCF in general becoming a Kubernetes-centric platform, while taking everything we do in that world and applying it to the VM space. Because the reality is the VMs are there. The VMs are part of modern app architectures, right? And if you operationalize it all in the same way, and you can now do everything you want through that declarative API, it's a great story. But it is important to remember that this isn't new to VMware, right? This is not a we can do this too topic. This is we've been doing this for quite some time. And
in fact, you talked about
largely,
that. Sorry, you talked about the 2018 kind of thing, the acquisition of Heptio at that time. Right after that, the intent was there. So the announcement that you mentioned with Ralston doing and then Frank doing it on stage, it took the couple of years at that time to basically bring it into vSphere. There's a massive change in the vSphere code base itself, right? When vSphere 7 came out at that time, the whole launch of vSphere with Kubernetes and VCF with Kubernetes at that time, it was a big deal. And so it has matured, all this while, and we've embedded that, that Kubernetes control plane into vSphere as the supervisor, essentially all this while. So and as containers have become mainstream and they are a key part of it, to your point, VMs are not going to go away. We're still looking at VMs, pretty much, well, not pretty much, every hyperscaler is running their containers in a VM, right? Because it gives you the control, the isolation, the security, the flexibility, all that good stuff, right? And so that's what we're continuing to do as well, and we're making sure that the experience is fantastic. But it doesn't matter what kind of workload it is. It doesn't matter what components you want to do. The whole point of VMware has always been we're going to add simplification to whatever you're trying to do. Right? We're going to make it easier for you to get done, whether you're doing it on just virtual machines. You want to use Kubernetes clusters with it, of course. Whether it is a traditional workload or if it is AI, it doesn't matter. It's all runs on VCF in the same consistent way. You can manage it at the fleet level and all that kind of stuff. And I think one of the really good things that we've done, and I think we're guilty of maybe not talking about it as much in the past, is kind of really coming out and talking about what we're doing with the open source community around all this stuff, basically, right? Yeah. Making sure that we're showing those integrations. We're talking about how it's, we're building those integrations, of whether it is Argo CD or Helm charts or Harbor and stuff like that, and making sure that people have the flexibility to use the tools that they already like, right? And just VKS and VCF just becomes part of that ecosystem versus being forced into anything like that, essentially, right? That's why the vSphere Kubernetes release that we have is so close to upstream Kubernetes. The whole point of that is we don't want to do an opinionated kind of version of Kubernetes for you. We want to keep it as close to upstream as possible. Just make it easier for everybody to adopt it and be very flexible with it. So lots of very interesting things that I think from a VMware point of view that are really starting to come across that I'm very happy about.
Yeah, honestly, this is probably one of the most impressive things about this community, the CNCF, community, the open source community, is that so many contributors, that are working on this all over the world. And so it's slightly different than like a VMware Explorer, where there's a bunch of practitioners coming and people learning about how to manage this stuff, but seeing all these different people that are actually, literally contributing to Kubernetes in some form or fashion in these projects. It's kind of an exciting thing. I'm actually looking forward to networking, probably more than usual, just to learn more about that. So it seems like, I don't know, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And if you guys are going to be there, if you're listening to this, please reach out, because we are looking for people to chat with. And I myself, as a student, I know there's going to be a ton of people. I know Broadcom has a big booth, and there's going to be a lot of folks that are experts going to share their information. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm excited going, because I'm going to be drinking from the fire hose, learning this stuff. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and actually, Himanshu just mentioned Harbor. A lot of people don't necessarily associate Harbor with Broadcom or VMware, but Harbor is one that so many people use, and we can maintain or continue to maintain a lot of that code. But there's a couple of I think there's a lightning talk and a breakout in Harbor at KubeCon that I've already tagged, and I'm going to try to make in person. So I'm looking forward to learning myself as you are, Pete. So there's a few others. I know we've got a bunch of sessions there, so do look at the schedule, and if it interests you, make sure you get in line. They're selling out pretty quick, actually, or getting full, not selling out.
Selling out, yeah. Sure. That's kind of like very anti-CNCF, man.
Yeah, I know.
By the way, Pete, you talked about like the networking aspect, right? And every conference you go to, networking is a big reason for it. I think KubeCon is the only one that I've seen that actually has this massive job board, like a physical 20-foot wall that you just go in and scribble, hey, contact me at this number for this role I'm looking for. I've seen people post like a piece of paper with a QR code and a 5-word description of, hey, so it's basically like one of those unique aspects of KubeCon, basically, where it's not just about networking, but it's also about just making sure that if you have interesting things that you're working on, and you find others who are interested in that topic. And that's very cool. I thought that, and so that is one. And then the other unique thing, and for all three of your noobs to KubeCon, is the sticker wall. Man, that is, I've never seen that at any conference as well. And that's like this separate section. So the easiest way to find it is like look around, and when you see like a 300-person long line, that's the one that's going to the sticker wall, because you can basically go and get stickers for all the different projects that you like, or you're interested in, and all that, and put that on your laptop or whatever. But so it's like very different vibe. Such a cool conference to go to. And, it's lots of learning, lots of fun, lots of interesting people to talk to.
I heard that John goes to those bulletin boards and throws a couple of darts on them and just follows through. And that's how he job searches. Hey, John, do you remember this one? Speaking of stickers.
Oh, man.
It's an old one. For those not watching the video, the VCN 66 sticker.
That was back when we committed war crimes with version numbers. There was no vSphere 6.6. That was 6.5.1. We're like, let's just do our. We think we shipped a lot on this patch. Let's vibe release number. So
there's no play on route 651. So
yeah. By the way, version numbers are great, because I do love the grown up nature of now of like, okay, everything is VCF. Here is your number. Everything is together. It all ships together. But with Kubernetes, you can use your older runtimes. You do not have to, async, keep those lockstep with vCenter, which is good. People can run their whatever version they want. So I brought it back to topic there.
Yeah, not to mention that with VKS and VCF, running VKS, we actually are second in line in getting new releases of Kubernetes out into the platform and available to customers. So it's like average, 62 days, Himanshu?
57.
57 days. And only AWS has a higher release cadence.
Faster, just a little bit.
Yeah. And then we'll continue to support N-2 with 2 years support. I mean, it's a pretty a pretty good setup, I think, in VCF. But I think the point is to just make Kubernetes automatic. It's infrastructure. It belongs at the infrastructure layer. That dial tone is just going to always be there. And that's the big emphasis on Kubernetes. Actually, if done right, should stop being such, right? It should fade into the background, just like infrastructure has. So, but yeah, anyways, that was a good point, John.
Yeah, it's supposed to be boring, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. That's a good point. Absolutely. Yeah. So recap real quick. Lots going on at booth 715, 715. We will be there podcasting. There will be theater sessions. Again, link below for Himanshu's blog post that covers all the activities, including the social events. Yeah, it's going to be a great week. I'm looking forward to it. I've only been to Amsterdam once, and it was on New Year's Eve once, many, many moons ago, and there was no conference there. But I'm looking forward to going there and, as John says, smelling the tulips. Anyone else? Any closing thoughts for KubeCon 2026?
The one thought I'll add is, so just to make sure people understand. So of course, in the main conference, we have a booth 715, which runs on the 24th, 5th, and 6th. And then on 23rd, with the Platform Engineering Day, we also have a booth. It's a smaller one. And so you'll see us there as well. So and I think Jad's going to be there for a while too. So on the Platform Engineering Day. So yeah, come and talk to us, on that one or on the main booth in the main conference, right? So this is going to be fun. Yeah.
Yep. Also a meeting room. We've already got some meetings getting queued up. So being advantageous, right? Customers that are already VMware customers or interested in being VMware platform customers, they want to talk with SMEs, and we're going to have SMEs and engineers and others on site, or have business level discussion either way. But do reach out if that's an interest of anybody who's listening here.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're going to be in Amsterdam the week before, John's going to be at the VMUG Connect event, which is essentially in the same building as KubeCon 2026, which I find interesting. But yeah, it's going to be 2 weeks in a row for John nerding out over in Amsterdam, one for us. I'm looking forward to it. Himanshu, thank you so much for joining us on Virtually Speaking, and we will see you in Amsterdam.